Do you ever feel overwhelmed by your wardrobe? You open the doors and you've got nothing to wear. Now that might come down to your shopping habits. So in this video, we're going to talk about how not to shop, along with some tips from a stylist, that's me, about how to shop effectively, efficiently, and build a wardrobe that works for you. So let's get into the video. So you might have a wardrobe that is full of items that you've collected over a period of time. If that's the case, I will just jump back here and say go to last week's blog post because it talks about how to declutter your wardrobe. But the problem might be that you just don't know how to shop effectively. So I'm going to talk you through two different types of shoppers. Now you could be a combination of both of these. I'm just going to generalize a little bit to get the point across. And then what I'm going to do is give you some pros and cons of each and show you how you can shop effectively and efficiently, because as a stylist, my biggest tip to you is that if you want to create a wardrobe that works, you need to shop and build that wardrobe intentionally. Now, if you like these kind of tips, there's going to be lots more of these coming. So make sure that you subscribe to my channel and click on the little bell to ensure that you get notified when I release a new video. Let's move on. So let's talk about the two types of shoppers. Now, because the Olympics are on at the moment, I thought I would use an analogy that would work with that. So our first shopper is what I'm going to call the 400-meter runner. And this is the person who perhaps doesn't actually like shopping. So what they do is they pack it all into one intense shopping trip. So they might go out at the beginning of the season thinking about, I need to get this list of things, and they may not have planned it quite as efficiently as that, but their intention is that they're going to get as much done in one day as they possibly can, because they don't want to go in a shop again for the rest of the season. They know that they need a certain number of things and a certain number of outfits, and they'll go out and they'll shop all day if necessary and come home with a pile of items. The second type of shopper is the one I'm going to call the marathon shopper. And this is the person who kind of shops continuously over a long period of time. So they don't necessarily go out with a list of things and think about what it is they need to get. They'll buy something when they see it, or perhaps an email will come in from a brand with a load of new items. They'll go online and they'll have a little route through and they'll find pieces and buy pieces as and when they see them. Now, as I said, both of these have pros and cons. So let's talk about the pros and the cons of each, and then how you can use the two of them together. So the pro of the 400-meter shopper is that it's about efficiency. You're going out maybe for one day or once a season, and you're really focusing on finding those things that you want. If you're really intentional about it, you'll think about it beforehand and create a list and take that with you. This type of shopping is really good to get you organised, stick to a plan and stick to a budget, because perhaps you've set aside an amount of money and you cannot spend more than that. Now, the cons of this type of shopping is it can be exhausting trying to do it all in one day. The other con about this is you can only buy what you see on that day. So it can be quite hard to look for those kind of more unusual items. So if you're going out to buy your basics like a white shirt or perhaps a pair of chinos, the chances are that you're going to be able to find those in the shops. When this becomes a little bit more stressful is when perhaps you've got an event coming up and you're thinking, this is what I need to buy. And when you go out and look for it, you can't actually find it. And so sometimes with this type of shopping, you will make do rather than buying pieces that you absolutely love, because you've gone out to find a particular thing, you can't find it, so you settle for what you can find. You also need to have a decent budget in place to be able to do this at one time. So you need a chunk of money that you can go out and you're happy to spend at that time. So it may be that you've had to save up to do this shopping trip. And a lot of people will say, well, I can't really afford to put aside a big chunk of money in one go to spend on my wardrobe. But we'll talk about why this can be a con for our marathon shopper in a minute. Now, another pro of this type of shopping is you're likely to find pieces that are cohesive with each other, because if you think at the beginning of the season or at regular drops throughout the season, there will be a collection of pieces that go together. It's more likely that you're going to see the same colour in several shops and be able to buy pieces that will mix and match together really well, because perhaps that is a popular colour at the moment. Also, with certain brands, they'll have collections that have got mix and match pieces together. And so if you're buying all in one go, you're more likely to see those pieces together. It is a little bit easier to put outfits together from the pieces that you buy from a 400-metre shop. So here are the pros and cons of the 400-metre shop. Now, with our marathon shopper, these are the people who like to hunt. So as I said, they'll buy pieces as and when they see them. The benefit of this type of shopping is that you're likely to stumble upon those personality pieces or those special pieces when you're not expecting to find them. So things like this blouse, an email came in at the beginning of last season. I saw this blouse, I absolutely loved the print of it, and I bought it. The same thing happened with these two tops. I didn't go out with an intention of buying these two items. I just happened to see them, liked them, knew they would work with what I had in my wardrobe, and so I bought them. But if I had gone out thinking I need to buy myself a little knitted top, it may be that I would have ended up with a neutral colour like this one, because that was all that I could find. Again, when I saw this come in on an email, again, I went straight to the site and I bought it because I knew that I loved it. So that marathon shopping does allow you to sort of buy bits and pieces as and when you see them, that could be those little things that really add a bit of a spark to your wardrobe. And when I talked about going out and hunting for that outfit for a special occasion, you'll probably find you have more success if you add these pieces to your wardrobe when you see them. And then when an event comes up that you can wear them, you've got that item there already. You're not in a panic going out to shop for it. So what are the downsides of the marathon shopper? Well, one of them is about budgeting, because if you're buying a top here and a pair of trousers there and a skirt here, it is likely that you don't realise how much you're actually spending. So whilst you might say to me, oh, I can't afford to put together a budget and invest all in one go, or I can't afford to spend a lot of money on particular items all in one go, what you might find is that spread over a longer period of time where you're buying bits and pieces, you're actually spending more money. And here are the pros and cons of the marathon shop. So it might make sense to you to budget at the beginning of the year or the beginning of the season, work out how much money you can afford to spend over the year, and then split that between these two types of shopping. And that's one thing that I would recommend to you, that you do use both kinds of shopping, because as you've seen, they both have their pros, they both have their cons, and they work for different things. So our marathon shopper is more likely to find those special items. Our 400-metre shopper is more likely to find those cohesive basics that create the foundation of their wardrobe. And that's what we all want. We want a beautiful wardrobe that has those basics that will help us create outfits, but we also want to have those special pieces that bring our personality in and make our wardrobe individual. So how do we balance these two methods? Well, I'd recommend, if you're building a wardrobe from scratch, you really do need to do that 400-metre shop, because you need things that you can wear. So going out and finding some of those basics that will build the foundations of your wardrobe is your first priority. And then over time, you can add in those other personality pieces, shopping throughout the season. So let's have a look at a practical example. Now, I want you to imagine that you're creating a wardrobe from scratch, or that you're creating a wardrobe at the beginning of the season, and you need quite a few pieces to build that wardrobe. So I've got an example here of a marathon shop. And we've got several pieces here. Let's imagine that I wanted a jacket, I wanted a few mix and match separates that I could put together, and I can create multiple outfits from that. So you can see here, all of those pieces will create me a set of cohesive outfits. Now, with that shop, it's likely that you're going to find those pieces that go together, especially if you do this at the beginning of the season. So, for example, here, the chinos and the little green knit top that go really nicely together are from the same brand, from a collection that has literally just dropped. And I can find other pieces that are these kind of basics that are going to work with that. So I would be able to find myself a cream top. I would be able to find myself a cream knit of some kind. Of course, the striped Breton top is always going to be available. And as in the previous slide, the cream skirt, you know, if I could hunt around and find something in a neutral that's going to go together. The same with the accessories, so the bag and the shoes, whatever colour it is that I happen to decide that I want for this little collection of basics. So typically that's going to be, if you're building from scratch, you're going to start with neutrals. In this example, I've started with a cream bag and cream shoes. It might be tan, it might be navy, it might be grey. But you can see here, these are the kind of pieces that you're going to find in the shops all of the time. They're not going to be pieces that you're going to have to hunt out. But you can see that these pieces, I can take those home, start those as the basics or the foundation or the core of my wardrobe. I have items that I can use to create outfits. Now, as we go through the season and I'm doing more of a marathon shop, I'm more likely to find these more unusual pieces. So if I went out looking for an orange handbag, it could be that on that day I don't find one. If I went out looking for this particular belt, which is really lovely, unusual olive green belt that goes with the pieces that I've bought previously. But if I was hunting for that, I probably wouldn't find it. It just so happened that as I was going through, I happened to see it again with the orange necklace, the pretty blouse, and again, this gorgeous colour, which is going to be one of my personality colours. So finding those pieces, you're more likely to stumble upon them than actually be able to go out and look for them. But what I want you to note here is that these pieces still go with the pieces that we found 400-meter shop. So that's why even when we're looking at these additional pieces and we're shopping throughout the season, we're still doing it with intention. We're not buying things willy-nilly. We are buying things that still go with our wardrobe. And so you do always need to keep in mind what you've got in your wardrobe. So you can see that these additional pieces go with all of those other core basics that we have already purchased. So I hope this little example gives you a really good idea of how you can use those two types of shopping, but you're still making sure that you're building your wardrobe intentionally. But what I would recommend is that you don't just shop continuously. You aren't the marathon shopper who shops regularly on a weekly basis, because what you will find is that you're not shopping with intention. You're not building that wardrobe with intention. And that's the thing, going right back to the beginning of this video, my key recommendation is if you want a wardrobe that works, that will create cohesive outfits for you, but that has personality in it as well. You blend these two types of shopping. You perhaps have your seasonal shop or twice a season shop for key pieces, and then you add in the odd piece here and there that adds personality. But what I would say to you is, don't just buy willy-nilly all the time. That's why you've got a wardrobe full of things that you never wear. Your wardrobe is full, but you've got nothing to wear. It's the most common thing that we hear as personal stylists. Get in there and declutter it, because even if you don't have an awful lot left, you actually haven't got any less than you started with, because you had that wardrobe full of things you couldn't wear. Now you've got a much smaller wardrobe. You can see the wood for the trees of things that you can and do wear. So get these shopping habits under control, and you'll find that if you shop with intention, you create your shopping plan, you put together a budget and decide how much you can spend, that's when you're going to get a wardrobe that works for you. So I hope you like these tips. I hope you found it useful. Which of those two shoppers are you more like? And can you see now how you can blend the two of them together and create a wardrobe that is really going to work for you? If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.